Hello friends, this is Amy and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to start out making some cute little air dry items. They're kind of like tags. This is kind of nice clay. It rolls out easy and I'm just going to use some cookie cutters and going to cut out some cute shapes and just make some cute tags. You never know, I might just use these on something sometime. I happened to have one that was just a nice rectangle and I thought I'd make it into like a tag. And so I'm going to angle off the edges, or the corners, I should say. Just eyeballing things. And I was trying to use that extra piece as kind of a guide as to how much to cut off. And it still ended up crooked, but it's okay. I just kind of went with it and smoothed it out while it was still nice and wet and pliable. I like how this stuff dried. It was nice and kind of a nice white and very nice and smooth. And I had watched a few videos on what was the best kind of clay, and this DAS came up. And I do agree, I really like it. Now I wanted these to hang, so I decided to put some holes in them before they dried. And you can use whatever tool you had. And then, of course, I had my cookie cutters, so I wanted to make a little sheep. And because I like to stamp, I've got these, they're called embossing folders. And you can see how they've got a nice embossed look on there. And it was perfect for doing a cute little sheep. And because these are naturally white, it was so perfect for farmhouse stuff. But you can paint these, or, this air dry clay is so nice. You can paint it. You could even, as you're kneading it up, you could put some, I did not try paint, but some kind of colorant to color um, the air dry clay. And I'll bet that would look really cute too. I'm trying to roll, I wanted a little squirrely, not a squirrely, but a little pigtail that was kind of like a spring. And I was having troubles. It kind of wanted to come off. And then I'll show you at the end, once it was dry, it really did come off, but I was able to glue it on with some E6000 glue later. This is kind of a little technique where would kind of etch the both sides of the surfaces that you want to put together. And maybe I should have just started over, that kind of a thing. And here I'm just putting in a little toothpick to see if I can get that to stay. And then I think I ended up going in crooked. It's okay. So here we go. I've got my little animals. And they're not quite dry, but I thought I can still do the decorating of them. And off comes the little pigtail. So I glued that on, like I said. I picked up this gilding wax when I was in Pennsylvania visiting family, and I just thought, I'm going to try this on here because I think it would look cute. And I do like how it turned out. It's kind of a bronze color, just to add a little color into those cute little curls. And then it kind of highlights it too, where you can actually see the curls. And you know how it is, you get started, and I was like, I better stop. I think I'll just go with the animals and we'll put the stuff on there, the bronzer. But decided to leave the farmhouse white with those tags. E6000 is such a nice glue. It works for a lot of things and it held up pretty nicely. I did put a little tape, blue tape on there just to keep it held while I worked on it. And Sharpie markers work so nice on this. If you've got a smooth top, it worked very nicely just to spell out whatever, you want to put on there. I decided to put farm on there. And of course, we'll just put some twine in the hole and call that one good. You can see where these are going to be cute to have on hand. I can hang them on things. If I wanted to, I could put hang it on to like a beaded garland, anything like that. When I did this first word that says hope, I decided the wording was just kind of too thick, and so I did it again with my other little marker. But it's the process showing you how I'm edging it and making it look old. You can wrinkle it, bend it. I hope everyone is having a nice spring so far. It's so nice to see the weather cooperating with us, and it gives a person hope. I live in the southern part of Minnesota, and so it's just been quite a winter. And it's typical, I mean, it's typical that we don't have great winters, but this has been an extraordinary winter as far as storms coming up and ice and snow and that kind of a thing. So we are all around here, we're all looking forward to spring, and I'm hoping it stays and we don't have any more winter weather that comes in. We've got a joke that it just keeps blowing back in the door and saying, and I want to tell you one more thing. Here's where I just tied that little ribbon or rib tied the little tag onto the other string and just left it there to hang down. I was thinking about Christmas in July the other day. This would be a great uh, medium to use for some ornaments for Christmas in July. Here I'm just using two different, they're the black, but they're both, one is thicker than the other. And just trying to get two different kinds of looks, printing and then the handwriting. Using one of my pretty stamp sets that's still available through Stampin' Up! Cottage Rose. And I'm using the Iron Orchid Design stamp pad because that is what's recommended. And I'm stamping it off so then it's more of a gray or a muted look rather than that harsh look of black because I wanted to write right over the top of it. So you can see how you can stamp it off so it's not quite so dark. Wouldn't these look cute if you were giving a gift? You could put the recipient's name right on there. And there they are. I love how they turned out. What do you think? Hello, friend. Blessed. Farm with this cute little tail. And hope. Spring is on its way. Thank goodness. DIY number two. This I picked up, can you believe it? It's a mud pie. And that's kind of a really nice, the company makes the cutest stuff. And so this was at our local grocery store for $2. And so I was like, I can't pass this up because I can redo this. I didn't need an egg tray. So this is my process of just making it like a decorative tray that you can put things on and have it around the house. So the first thing I thought, I'm just going to take these, they're larger popsicle sticks, and I just want to make it like it's got the top of it is going to be wooden. And I just glued them right directly to this, like this consistency of like a cereal cardboard, the thickness. And I'm just sanding here, and I noticed it was still kind of flimsy. So I decided to take them off of that cardboard and glue it directly on the top of that egg tray. And I used Aleene's glue, and so it came off pretty, it wasn't easy, but I just didn't want it to come off. And so then I got out the wood glue, and we're going to put that down because basically these are two wood pieces, and that works the best when you put wood together. You want to use a good wood glue. And so I just kind of went with it. There's the glue I used, and I just did my best to cover all the surfaces that it would be in contact with. And as I went, I, pushed those pieces together. And at the end, I ended up using some of the removable tape, that blue tape, just to hold those pieces together. And then I put it upside down and weighted it down so then that could, really get nice and secure. Once it was dry, I removed the tape and then it was ready to be painted. And all I did was just use some Rust-Oleum linen white paint, and I believe it was only a couple of coats. And you could do whatever you wanted with this. It'd be cute. See how it's just white there? It'd be cute with a napkin art or anything like that. But I thought this will be just perfect for just displaying things. What do you guys think? Pretty fun, huh? Be fun to find something like that in a garage sale or whatever and redo it. It looks so high end when you get done. And now you see a sneak peek of my other item. Whoops! DIY number three. These I found at Target. They were $3 and it was probably a couple years ago. And they're kind of meant to put together and, make it. It was a fall decor thing. I think they've got sticky on the back of those. So I'll save those for another time. And I'm looking at it and I found this napkin. Oh, I just love these little birds. It's so spring-like. But you can see where they're not lined up straight with the, if I were to quarter that or cut it down. So I had to get creative. And so the first thing I did was just kind of cut it in half so I could have something to work with. And the best thing to do if you want to rip a napkin, because ripping is better than cutting, just put some water on it and then it'll loosen those fibers and you can just rip it very easily. And at this point, it still has the three layers in it. And I'm just trying to go along so we can get the two birds. And there's still some of that straight edge. So then I did go along with some water and I did rip it along both edges to get rid of that straight edge as shown here. I haven't been out and about looking for fun napkins. I mean, it's not my only purpose in going out, but when I'm out with friends, I do look for pretty napkins. Okay, so the base of this is hazelnut. My intention was going to make it crackle a crackle look. And so if you were to use, all right, so my hazelnut is the base. And then I've seen it where you can take an Elmer's glue or white glue. It's and what I had is a little bit left of a lean, so I added some water and I thought, well, I'll do that. You put this on, and while the glue is still wet, then you put your top coat of paint on it. I'm wondering if it just dried too fast. I'm not sure, but it really didn't work. And I guess I'm just going to have to buy a bottle of Elmer's glue and try it that way. But that was my intention with this. But after I noticed that it's not going to crackle, then I just carried on and made it work. So at this point, you should be able to start seeing some crackling as it's drying. The thicker you put it on, the larger your crackles will be. And so if you want smaller crackles is what that's what I was going for, you'll want a thinner layer. But I like I said, I think it dried before, it did anything with the paint. If you know that, what I did wrong, let me know. I'm learning just like you are, right? So, anyway, we're just going to take some sandpaper and rough it all up. And I'm already liking how things look. I wanted it even rougher yet. And so I'm digging around in my craft room trying to find things that I can pull some of that paint back off. And I think I've got a plastic thing in my hand right here. And what I ended up doing is using it was like a razor blade, like using it on the flat end with my cutter. You can see how I'm just pulling it down just to get some of that paint to come back off. I thought, well, if I can't have it crackled, then I'll just make it worn. This is the Americana egg, and this is from Magnolia. And I didn't, I did put this on there, but I put way too much paint on there because I wanted still some of that white to show in, underneath that napkin. So I'm trying to wipe it off. And then I ended up just putting more white on there anyway. So here we go, more white to add in there. It's really starting to look grungy and I'm loving it. So here it is where I am separating the layers. This one happens to have 3 layers. Bring it down to the very first layer and be careful at this point because it'll rip very easily. And I am taking that napkin and I'm just overlapping right over the edge of the frame on this wooden frame. So I'm starting to put the Mod Podge right on the base and then I'm going to tuck it in, with my paintbrush and you'll kind of see just to kind of make sure everything is tucked and pressed in where it's supposed to go. And then I'll overlay that on the edge of the frame. Now this image really is very spring-like. I just love it. And I debated about putting like some kind of a I don't know, a ribbon or a messy bow or something on it. Um, I just didn't know exactly, where to put it. I was thinking, well, I could put something on each corner, or not each corner, but like the opposite corners. I could put something at the top. I could put something at the bottom. I even wondered about putting a word at the bottom, like nest or something like that. And I just couldn't decide on anything, so I decided to just leave it alone. Do you have any ideas of what would look good on this? There it is. I mean, the image itself is so pretty. It's like a, you know, um, watercolor, and then it's got that French look to it with the printed word, and I don't know, it's just such a pretty napkin. I love how this turned out. What do you all think? We got more to see here. DIY number 4. This is something I picked up last year, and I know I got it at least 50% off. So it was either $1 or $2. And basically just wanted to do something with the frame. And so I'm just going to paint this all white and getting out my farmhand stamps from Iron Orchid Designs. And instead of stamping in the paint, I'm using paint instead of ink. Instead of stamping in it, I'm going to try out a technique where you're rolling it on and just using this little roller and just see how well it worked. And I started out by using it on this block. And as you can see, it did not pan out using a block. I'm talking about that clear block that it's sitting on. And so, oh, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't going to work. So I took it off and then I've just placed it down, and it isn't, ideal, but it seems to work better than if you were to keep it on that clear block. You could put on like some really thin like plastic too to kind of hold it. But I just went with sticking them on like this. The alphabet, this alphabet farmhand is just a fun one. It very much is very farmhouse type style. And then just use a brush if you wanted to, touch it up a little bit. And I'm just using an acrylic paint. You could use chalk paint. All of that works just fine for this kind of a thing. And then I just showing you too that I started out on the middle, and that way everything is going to be centered very nicely if you start out with a middle letter. And this had 7 letters, and so it worked out perfectly in that respect as well. And I did put my ruler on the bottom so I kind of knew where the middle of everything was. And then once you're done with that, then work the other way and put the other letters in. I hope you are enjoying my video so far, and I want to thank you for watching. We've got one more after this, but before I go, or before we keep going, I want to show you how I did these flowers. Now these are used on a die cutting machine, and you can use them on paper. I decided to try them using it on just the felt like you can buy in your art stores or Walmart, and just smashing that in between using some blue felt, and I'll show you how it turned out. I went back and forth a couple times to make sure that it cut really good. Works excellent for paper, and it worked out really good for felt as well. And this set, it's a Tim Holtz, and it comes with the tool, like if you were going to do some quilling and you'd roll that, like if it were paper. And I'd actually tried to do some rolling with it, but it did not work. So here I am, I'm sticking it on the end, and you'll put your paper in there, and then you're just going to add a little bit of glue and just roll and glue until it gets to the end, and then that other piece just goes right on the bottom. And I'm using hot glue because it's, instant hold. That's exactly what I needed. It was very hot, but, just trying to be careful. And this is just fun to do. You could do this by hand if you wanted to cut out some shapes. I've done that before. If you do like a little wavy top and the bottom is straight, you can roll that together and come up with a rose. This is just a rose, and it's a little more in depth and intricate than if you were to cut it out by hand, but it all looks good. And as it gets bigger, it gets easier to roll it onto itself. And then you can see as I'm getting to the end of this that you're going to put that very round, the bigger part that's going to go right on the bottom. And there you have a instant flower made out of felt. And this is a little different of a style. And so I just kind of went to town and made some cute flowers. Just going to glue those on. And once I glued those on, I was like, yeah, this is really cute, but I want to put some leaves in it. And so I was digging around and I did find some green felt that looked really cute. And then just trim those down as needed. The hot glue works great for this type of project. 2 leaves on there, 2 leaves on the other side, and I said, that is done. Do you guys like this project as well? I kind of love it. I love how those letters look. Well, we've got one more project today, DIY number 5. So have you all heard of this torch paste? I have been wanting to try this, and you use this kind of like if it were a paint and you're going to use it on a stencil. And I just decided to go with something small to start out with. And this is a basic stencil. Does not have the silk screening on it. And so I'm just going to take the torch paste and just scrape that right through the screen. It's not screen, sorry. Right through the stencil. And I just did my best not to, have it pool anywhere and just tried to keep it moving. The piece of wood that I'm using is cedar. And I also want to mention that the heat gun I'm using is something that I use for my card making for wet embossing. And so I'm not sure if it's as hot as the other, ones that they recommend, but it did work. It just took a long time. So you put that on, let it dry, and now here I am, and I'm going to put my heat on there. And like I said, it took a long time. I think I'd probably wear out my embossing gun, if I were to do this in more, projects. So I do believe investing in a gun that's hotter is going to be better for this. And then if you look at this, there are little spots where it looks like it's it looks like it's got a little piece of coffee or something on there. You see that right there? That is where there was like a little clump of the torch paste. And that's what happens. It just kind of burns. So try and get it as smooth as possible. So what do you think? Do you like that one too? I definitely liked doing it. I want to make more of this stuff. I think that'd be really cute, like on something in the kitchen, anything wood related. So we're going to have to experiment with that. Thank you, my friends, for watching my video, and I do truly appreciate it. If you like this, please put like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. Thank you kindly. Talk to you again soon. Bye bye.